But now, Peter, shall I tell you about all those? Oh, well, let's talk about this man-powered boats first, because this is amazing. We talk about the fact that it is a 7-mile stretch from Battersea Bridge to Tower Bridge. But really, these people have had to muster way below, and they will actually be rowing, some of them, 14 miles. Now, well, it's one of Her Majesty's good friends, Lord Sainsbury, who has been very much overseeing preparations. But this barge has, as you say, was a cruiser ship and very much a passenger ferry for people, has been redesigned
of past special flotillas dating back 3.5 centuries. Paintings, the famous Canaletto painting was captured to give us a sense of what a flotilla might look like, and they've even talked, we'll show it to you a little later, we've even talked of that some ideas were actually copied from that painting for today. So as we watch the boats under human power making their way at the head of the flotilla, with all those people stacked along the shores of the Thames. They're expecting upwards of 1 million people to watch this in person, and millions more, tens of millions more, watching on television across this country, and hundreds of millions watching around the world. So as
you saw him earlier greeting Prince Philip, and he said that he was hoping that the pageant went well, otherwise the Queen might order him overboard at the Tower of London, down where you are, for a long stay in the tower. He was crossing his fingers that there wouldn't be wind that might unsettle this. We were speaking about the Gloriana, and we saw it earlier this week, an absolutely beautiful old-style Viking prow rowboat with 18 oars. They're being rowed by many handicapped athletes, Paralympians, Afghan soldiers returning from Afghanistan. Very interesting. The pageant master told us that originally it might have been thought that the Queen might go on the Gloriana, but there was no way that the palace was going to let any royals go on a rowboat, under no circumstances. And more to that, the number of people around them, she wanted her family and many other people have to go with the Queen on the boat, so that's why the Spirit of Chartwell became the royal barge that you're going to see in very short order coming down this river. Also, from my vantage point, I don't know if we can see it, we can see that belfry that's going to lead the whole...
How the weather was going to get in the way today, and to some degree it has, but it hasn't impacted on the crowds. The crowds are still massive to see this incredible collection of different vessels. There's a gondola from Venice. Keep in mind, the BBC controls most of the pictures you're going to be seeing today, and that's exactly what we were looking for. We were looking for that great Canadian vessel. This is one of the different groups that is from Canada. That's a dragon boat, breast cancer survivors. That boat is not a Canadian boat as such, but it's fully Canadian crewed, using a boat from over here, and they're a pretty proud group. And they're also the only Canadian vessel of these 1,000 is a Canadian canoe. We'll keep our eye out for that. There are a couple of places.
Pageant comes to a conclusion because Tower Bridge is the finishing point for everyone who's participating in the flotilla today. It's also spectacular because it's smack dab in the middle of what's called the Avenue of Sail. There are about 100 different ships that simply have masts that are too tall to go under some of the bridges along the Thames. So they have moored alongside both banks of the Thames, as I said, about 100 vessels, and they are a ceremonial honor guard to greet all of the vessels and the kayaks and the rowboats and the paddle boats, and of course the bigger vessels as well, and the royal barges as they come along. So, for example, there's a ship here called the Amazon, and it is the link to Queen Victoria because it is the only vessel here in this flotilla and pageant that was part of her Diamond Jubilee celebration in 1897. It was part of the naval inspection there. So that's in the Avenue of Sail. So people have gathered behind me by the thousands. They've been here since early this morning. Happen at the conclusion. Just out of the shot, as you mentioned, we don't have control of all the pictures, but 8 royal barge approaches. And then she's going to sail down right underneath the Tower Bridge. The bascules, those famous bascules, are going to rise in a salute. And she is going to moor right there and watch the rest of the flotilla.
Thanks, Heather. It sure is, and that'll be happening throughout this next 90 minutes, really, at each different location as the flotilla passes by all the different bridges through downtown London. Keep in mind on the river, this is a tricky river. You know, we tend to think of rivers as, you know, gently flowing little waterways. The Thames is anything but. It is affected by the tides, goes up and down by roughly 7 meters twice a day. So everything has to be timed here perfectly. They're trying to keep a speed of about 4 knots as they head down the 7-mile route, so they don't get into any troubles because of the rapidly moving water. Let's check in halfway. Anne-Marie Medawake is at the halfway point on the flotilla.
The Queen float by, as well as the other 1,000 boats that will be here on the Thames. So a really great spot to watch it. From time to time, I'm going to grab the railing because I can feel my sea legs are starting to get a little wobbly.
All right, Anne-Marie, thanks very much. Queen Elizabeth looking over the events surrounding her as they get ready to begin the route, not only with the various canoes and kayaks that are out there, and the rowboats and the lifeboats, you name it, in that first initial group. Coming up to the, you know, they've just come under the Battersea Bridge area. That's the Belfry barge with the bells that you've been talking about, Kira. They're amazing. We're going to be hearing them throughout the route.
Well, they will be leading the pageant. 8 bells have been specially commissioned with the names of senior members of the royal family. And of course, the biggest and heaviest bell is named the Elizabeth. But of course, leading this section, the man-powered boats, which are all the rowboats that are here, will be the first of 10 barges, which will be herald barges, which will be playing music. So of course there will be 10 different musical sections to this flotilla, accompanying the 10 different sections of boats, types of boats that we will see.
You've noticed, of course, that I'm saying human power, right?
I know. I'm going men. It's all about the manpower.
Yeah, right. Well, there are some women there. I'll never forget once getting a note from somebody who was supposed to be in charge of these things at the CBC many years ago saying, have you ever thought of changing your name?
Oh, dear.
From Mansbridge.
Yes, to?
Person's Bridge.
Or a woman's bridge.
Yeah. And you know what? I think they were actually serious.
Oh, stop it.
Get some funny people.
Now, of course, leading within this group, the man-powered boats, you have the Commonwealth flag. So you can imagine the 56 Commonwealth flags that will be on some of the boats.
Gloriana still sort of in step with each other on the rowing there. It's a trick. In many cases, as I was saying about the Canadian canoe, and hopefully we're going to catch it soon. We'll definitely have a couple of locations along the route where you'll get a good glimpse of it. They had never paddled together before today, ever. The group that's on there, they range in age from 24 to 80, although the 80-year-old Canadian says, hey, I was born on February 29th. It's a leap year, baby, so I'm really only 20. Seriously.
Now, the Gloriana is an 88-foot barge that has been extensively renovated for this pageant.
The famous royal wave, as the Queen and Prince Philip watch the vessels that were positioning themselves for the very head of the flotilla. This gives us a chance to share with our viewers who joined us from CBC television kind of a very quick sort of 1-minute look at the route they're taking. This will give you a reminder of what downtown London looks like if you've been here or if you've only ever dreamt about being here. Here's a quick look at the route they're going to be taking.